The night I found the child, the sky above Sector 12 was bleeding light. Most people didn't notice anymore. Living under orbital traffic lanes meant you got used to the glow, freighters sliding through atmosphere, military patrols burning ion trails, debris vaporizing on re-entry. It all blended into a permanent bruise-colored haze over the city. But this light was different. It flickered, stuttered, then fell. I was on my way home from the reclamation yards, boots aching, lungs full of metal dust, when something slammed into the alley 2 blocks ahead of me. The ground shuddered. Steam hissed upward. Every instinct I had told me to turn around. In New Carthage, curiosity got you killed. But then I heard crying. Not the rough, broken sobs of a junkie or the feral wailing of someone losing their mind. This was small, thin, controlled, like the child was trying not to make noise. I moved closer. Behind a collapsed service wall, half hidden by steam vents and trash, lay a pod the size of a coffin. Its surface shimmered like oil on water, folding light around itself in ways my eyes struggled to track. A seam ran down the middle, cracked open. Inside was a child. They couldn't have been more than 6 or 7 years old by human standards. Slight, fragile-looking. Their skin carried a faint pearlescent hue, like moonlight trapped under flesh. Large eyes, too large, watched me with terror sharpened into focus. They didn't scream. They just stared. "I'm not going to hurt you," I said, holding my hands up. It felt ridiculous. Talking to a clearly non-human child in the worst district of the city, like this was a normal night. The child tilted their head. A faint glow pulsed along the veins of their neck. They spoke, but not with sound. A voice bloomed inside my mind, soft, trembling, and impossibly clear. "Please don't let them take me." My heart stopped. I don't know who they are," I whispered. "But you can't stay here." Sirens wailed somewhere distant. Patrol drones. If they found this pod, the child would be dissected before sunrise. I made a decision that would rewrite my entire existence. I picked the child up. They weighed almost nothing. I named them Ari. They didn't tell me their real name. Later, I would understand why. At first, Ari didn't speak much, telepathically or otherwise. They watched everything, memorized routines, learned language frighteningly fast. Within days, they were speaking aloud, though their voice carried a strange resonance, like harmonics layered beneath the sound. I lived alone in a government-issued unit, 1 room plus a sanitation stall. I worked scrap reclamation because it paid in ration credits and didn't ask questions. Adding a child, an alien child, was madness. But when Ari slept curled against the wall, glowing faintly in the dark, I felt something I hadn't felt since my wife died during the off-world riots. Purpose. I told neighbors Ari was my niece, a refugee from the outer colonies. People stopped asking questions once they saw my eyes harden. Weeks passed. Then the dream started. Ari would wake screaming, not in fear, but in rage. The room would vibrate. Objects would lift off the floor. Once, the metal door bent inward like it had been punched by a giant. "I didn't mean to," Ari sobbed afterward, clutching their head. "I'm trying to be small." That's when I knew this wasn't just some lost alien kid. This was something powerful. Something hunted. Middle. The first time the Empire found us, they didn't come in ships. They came in suits. Tall figures cloaked in adaptive armor, faces hidden behind smooth, mirror-black masks. They emerged from thin air inside my apartment, reality folding around them like a curtain. Ari screamed. The air ignited. I remember being thrown across the room, slamming into the wall, so hard my vision fractured. Alarms howled. The lights shattered. One of the figures hit the ceiling and stayed there, pinned by an invisible force. Ari, I shouted. Stop. They turned to me, eyes blazing white. I don't want to go back, they cried. They'll make me burn worlds again. That sentence shattered my understanding of reality. The figures recovered fast. Energy, weapons charged. The room smelled like ozone and fear. Without thinking, I stepped between them and Ari. You want the kid? I said, blood running down my face. You go through me. One of them paused. Then, to my shock, they lowered their weapon. Caretaker, the figure said, voice layered and synthetic. You are harboring imperial blood. The words echoed like thunder. Ari collapsed, exhausted. The remaining figures retreated, not defeated, but restrained. This isn't over, the voice said. The heir will return. And they vanished. That night, Ari told me the truth. Their species called themselves the Aurelian Ascendancy, a star-spanning empire older than most human civilizations. They weren't conquerors in the traditional sense. They ruled through biological superiority, psychic dominance, and a rigid belief in destiny. Ari wasn't just part of that empire. They were next in line to rule it. The Aurelian heir was born once every few centuries, a living convergence of genetic perfection and psychic potential. A being capable of commanding fleets with thought alone. A god emperor. Ari was supposed to inherit that power fully upon reaching maturity. But something went wrong. Ari felt empathy. They questioned orders. They mourned casualties. The ascendancy called it a flaw. They wanted to remove it. Ari whispered. They said love would make me weak. Instead of submitting, Ari ran. They stole a pod. Crashed on Earth. Hid among a species so insignificant the Empire never thought to look here. Until now. The second attempt came with fire. Aurelian war forms descended into the city, slicing through buildings like paper. Human defense forces were erased in minutes. News feeds collapsed into static and screams. We ran. Through service tunnels. Through forgotten transit shafts. Ari shielded us from debris with trembling effort. Every use of their power made them glow brighter. Every glow made us more visible. We reached an old launch facility, a relic from humanity's first failed expansion. Dead. Abandoned. Or so we thought. Inside waited someone unexpected. A human woman, standing beside a battered cruiser patched together from alien tech. She introduced herself as Commander Heir, and she bowed to Ari. Your Highness, she said. I nearly lost my mind. Heir was part of a resistance, humans, defectors, and breakaway alien species crushed under the Aurelian ascendancy. They had waited generations for the heir to appear. Not to crown them, to give them a choice. Ari, Heir said gently, you can end this empire without burning the stars. Or you can inherit it and remake it. Ari looked at me. Fear. Hope. Confusion. Love. I don't want to rule, they said. I want to stay. The Empire didn't allow that. The final confrontation came in orbit. An Aurelian dread citadel unfolded above Earth, blotting out the sun. Its presence alone triggered mass panic. A voice thundered into every mind on the planet. Return, heir, or this world ends. I held Ari as the ground shook. They'll kill billions, Ari whispered. Because of me. I looked into those luminous eyes and made the hardest decision of my life. Then you don't face them alone. Ending the resistance ship pierced the upper atmosphere like a bullet. Aurelian defenses shredded it on approach. Hull breaches. Fires. Screams. We made it anyway. Inside the dread citadel, reality felt wrong. Gravity bending, time stretching. The throne chamber was alive, grown from bioluminescent matter that pulsed in rhythm with Ari's heartbeat. At the center waited the Regent Collective, three ancient beings fused into one consciousness. They were the Empire. You were made to command, the collective intoned. Return. Ascend. End this farce. Ari stepped forward. Small. Shaking. Defiant. No, they said. The chamber trembled. I won't be your weapon, Ari continued. I won't erase love to preserve control. The collective laughed, a sound like collapsing stars. Then you will be erased. Power surged. I felt my atoms unraveling. And then Ari reached back and took my hand. Something changed. Ari's light didn't explode outward. It folded inward. They shared their power. With me. With Heir. With every mind resisting the Empire. Not domination. Connection. The Ascendancy had never understood that possibility. The psychic shockwave didn't destroy the Empire. It dissolved it. Command chains collapsed. War forms went dormant. Worlds long silenced felt freedom bloom in their skies. The Regent Collective screamed as individuality flooded back into them, emotions they'd suppressed for millennia tearing them apart. The Dread Citadel died quietly, like a dream ending. Earth survived. Barely. Ari never became emperor. Instead, they became something unprecedented. A bridge. The Ascendancy fractured into cultures, governments, and alliances. No single ruler. No divine heir. Ari chose to stay on Earth. With me. They still glow sometimes, when emotions run high. They still struggle with guilt, with power, with responsibility. But now, when Ari dreams, it's not of burning worlds. It's of classrooms, gardens, a future where a child doesn't inherit an empire, only choices. And sometimes, when I watch Ari laugh with other kids under a sky no longer shadowed by warships, I realize something terrifying and beautiful. The most dangerous thing in the universe wasn't the empire. It was the idea that power must rule love. And the smallest refugee child I ever sheltered proved that even empires can be raised or ended by the hands that choose compassion.